Happy Wednesday, and thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch. I'm Chris Bianchi with a look at your top headlines on this Wednesday, August 18th, and we'll start things off with, once again, another hot and hazy day in store for Denver, but big changes in store in that weather forecast. Also in the mountains, we're seeing widespread showers and storms, likely going to see some big issues in the burn scars, including I-70 at Glenwood Canyon, and also the Cameron Peak and the East Troublesome burn scars, so Rocky Mountain National Park and again I-70 at Glenwood Canyon could be two trouble spots for today and also for your day tomorrow. Meantime, for Denver, again, hot and hazy for today, but tomorrow we see our big changes. Sharp cold front arrives overnight, and that will drop our temperatures with a high just in the low to mid 80s for your day tomorrow with widespread showers and storms. During the afternoon, we've got a few more storms in store for your Friday before we clear things on up for the weekend and warm things back up close to about 90 degrees for a high temperature. Air quality advisory, by the way, in effect for Denver in the Front Range until 4 o'clock for your day today. Now, some of that due to wildfire smoke from the west, and speaking of those fires, huge fires continue to develop in California, and it is the Caldor fire near Lake Tahoe that has led to evacuations out that way. Now, a little bit of good news for us specifically here in Colorado is we will not see the smoke from these fires for at least the next few days. Our air quality should remain on the decent side through the weekend and perhaps into early next week. We could see some of the smoke from those California fires next week, though that does remain to be determined based on the forecast. Now, opening statements begin today for two former Boulder County deputies who are charged in connection with the death of a man who died in their custody back in 2018. 9 News reporter Darius Johnson had this report from the Boulder County Courthouse.
It was September 9th, 2018, when Demetrius Shankling came into contact with two Boulder County deputies on his 23rd birthday. According to the arrest affidavit, he was drunk. His blood alcohol content was at a life-threatening level. Former Boulder County deputies James O'Brien and Adam Lunn arrested Shankling and transported him to an addiction recovery center after realizing he was a danger to himself and others. Documents say Shankling was resisting and placed in a 5-foot compartment at the bottom of this cargo van. He was 6 feet tall, on his stomach, and in handcuffs. 16 minutes and 2 seconds later, upon arrival, Shankling was blue in the face and unresponsive. 28 days later, he died. His death was ruled a homicide due to positional asphyxia. According to the arrest affidavit, the two former deputies were trained to prevent that. Now the trial begins for Adam Lunn and James O'Brien, who are both facing charges of manslaughter.
But on Tuesday, the city and county of Denver issued a public health order requiring face coverings in schools and child care facilities for all people 2 years of age or older. Now, that applies to all students, teachers, staff, and volunteers, and that is also regardless of vaccination status. There are a handful of exceptions, though, and you can find those on our article about the new Denver mask mandate over on 9news.com. Now, Denver is not the only area that is changing its mask requirements. The Tri-County Health Department will require masks in school buildings for students ages 2 to 11. The decision, though, it was exceptionally contentious. So contentious, in fact, that it required 2 nights of discussion before the board could vote on it. 9 News reporter Eddie Randall has this report.
Tuesday, 9 members of the Tri-County Board of Health discussed 2 choices: mask for everybody or mask only for younger students.
Are we going to be a Board of Health that follows CDC guidance? Are we going to be a Board of Health that lets politics control the conversation and supersede the recommendations we're hearing from experts and medical and public health professionals?
Tough decisions from people working in public health who also wear additional hats.
So today I'm basing my decision based off of my experience as a mother, as a public health professional, and most importantly, as a community member.
What is in the best interest of the kids? And this also becomes more of an ethical issue. Where are we going to cause the least harm? And how are we going to protect people the most?
The public health order passed with 6 in favor, 2 against, and 1 abstention. The order requires all students ages 2 to 11 in both public or private schools to wear a mask along with all staff. The public health order also allows any county to opt out. Douglas County commissioners who have stated being against a mask mandate had plans to discuss the issue on Wednesday. But Tuesday night, the Douglas County School District sent a letter to parents stating it will comply with the public health order requiring masks. The order goes into effect August 23rd.
Meanwhile, the Centers for Disease Control is recommending that all Americans get a third booster shot after 8 months of being fully vaccinated to shore up their protection against COVID-19. Now, this only applies to those who got the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine and not the Johnson & Johnson one. The CDC plan still awaiting an FDA safety evaluation, but third shots could begin as early as September the 20th. Now, let's face it, a year ago, almost all of us knew very little about so-called variants, but now that's all it seems we can talk about when it comes to COVID-19, which is why we asked Chris Vanderveen to walk us through why Delta is taking over the headlines.
Flummoxed, confused, perplexed. There's a saying for what we're feeling. It's all Greek to me. But when it comes to variants, Greek needn't bewilder. Why? Because we no longer have to call this variant B.1.1.7 or this one B.1.617.2. We can just call this Alpha and this one Delta. Yep, just like in the Greek alphabet. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. Each is what the CDC calls a variant of concern. Alpha first showed up in the United Kingdom, Beta in South Africa, Gamma in Brazil, and Delta in India. Let's talk that one. Why? Because we know it's very contagious. Consider what's known as an R0, or average number of unprotected people a virus typically infects. Seasonal influenza, remember that? The CDC says it generally has an R0 of 1. Basically, every person who gets it will typically infect one other person. The original version of SARS-CoV-2, aka the virus that causes COVID-19, had an R0 of 1.5 to 3, according to the CDC. Infectious, yes, as infectious as, let's say, the swine flu. But as SARS-CoV-2 infected millions, it evolved, mutated. Some mutations were inconsequential, some were not. Case in point, the mutations that led to the Delta variant. Smallpox is very contagious. It has an R0 of around 5. The Delta variant of SARS-CoV-2, anywhere between 5 and 9. That's almost in chickenpox territory. And remember, COVID is more deadly than that. Then there's measles, one of the most contagious viruses on the planet. It has an R0 of around 12. Good thing is, we rarely have measles outbreaks in the U.S. Why? You know why. Back to Delta. Maybe this still is, as we say, all Greek to you. But as you consider what it means to you, don't forget just how contagious Delta really is. Honestly, it's nothing to sneeze at.
Meanwhile, wireless provider T-Mobile says data from more than 40 million past, current, and prospective customers was exposed in a recent cyber attack. The breached data includes social security numbers and driver's license information. Not great, but the company did stress it does not include credit card or payment information. T-Mobile said it reset PIN numbers on prepaid accounts, and it recommends that postpaid customers reset their PINs as well. And finally, we're going to end on a fun note with star Broncos linebacker Von Miller, who is now a father. Miller was not at Broncos training camp on Monday to attend the birth of his son, who was born on Monday night. Miller expected to be back at practice today, and our congratulations to the Super Bowl 50 MVP and brand new father. That'll do it for your headlines here on this Wednesday, August 18th. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. I'm Chris Bianchi, and have a great rest of your day.